I am begging you to not retire because of a Monte Carlo analysis. Now, it's helpful. I like using it, but it is not the reason to retire, and especially not the reason to retire early. So if you currently have a financial plan and you've run some models and you see something like this on your screen, I have a 76% probability of success. This does not, and let me be clear, this does not mean that you have a 76% chance that you can retire early and a 24% chance that you'll run out of money. That is not what this means. I'm going to explain what this means in today's video. And if you don't already know, my name is Taublieb. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and I'm the vice president here at Root Financial Partners. Now, I will always shout out other awesome financial advisors if I see they're doing cool work, whether it's on YouTube or on LinkedIn or wherever it is. And here's a nice graph put together by another firm. They use the same software I use, and you can see their Simplify Wealth Planning. I don't know anything about them. I haven't talked to anyone there. I'm just shouting them out because I like their LinkedIn post. And you can see here, they call this the overly cautious trap, 100% probability of success. And they say you got to find the balance between future security and present joy. So maybe the sweet spot is 69%. Now, I don't agree with that either, okay? But this is an advisor. You can see here, Marcel Moo, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. But he's like, look, my clients with 100% probability of reaching all their goals are usually miserable. They're generally just working hard. They're saving diligently, not much else. And I imagine you right now, because I don't blame you, you're a human, you're like, hey, isn't 100% good? Like, I'm no genius here, but 70% just doesn't sound good. And so how do we make sure we understand what good planning is? You could see here, they target a 60 to 70% probability of success. They allocate resources so you enjoy the future, but also make sure the present. So proper planning, you can have both. I do agree. Don't love everything in here, but ultimately, I want to make sure that if you are retiring early, you are not going, look, should I have worked 6 more months or 1 more year or 3 more years so I can actually spend what I want the rest of my life? So a lot of the work I do today is called revisional planning, which means someone comes to me, they retire early, but they're retiring early again, meaning they did unsuccessfully the first time. For example, they retire, they're 55, they have a home remodel, they travel, they don't plan for healthcare, they don't consider tax strategies, and now they're 70 and they're like, look, I might be okay, but I'm now freaking out a little bit. And so should I go back to work and get something part-time? And sometimes I have to say yes. Sometimes I'm like, no. Why would you ever go back to work? You're in a good spot. So I'll be both of those people. Now, on today's episode, I'm going to walk you through a case study so you can understand how to think about probability of success. So here's how I like to do it. Before we get into any of this, make sure if you want to use this tool that I'm mentioning, you can go in the description of this episode. You can see in YouTube description, podcasts, wherever you're listening, you can go ahead and play around with this tool and start understanding where you're at. It's a few $100 for a reason. Okay. So no one-on-one guidance. If you want, go through the FAQs. Do I get to have a call with you? No. Okay, this is just for everyone. You can go ahead, no refunds. It's, hey, go play with it. See if it's exactly what you're looking for. I do it. I don't want to take a ton of time from my team to be able to be processing refunds if it's not exactly what you're looking for. And so this is just me going, look, this is built for advisors. We're offering it for you. If you want to go ahead and play around with the tool, be my guest. I find it's really helpful for you to run your projections. So let's meet this couple. Now, here's what's cool about what we're going to do today. If you saw my case study last week on if you're a teacher and how to think about retiring early, I'm going to use similar numbers so that you can go ahead and go, oh, I'm going to use it based off last week's episode. So if you didn't see that, don't go watch it. It's okay. But meet the couple. So they're 57 and 54. They have a 23-year-old child, and one of them is a teacher, and they're like, look, we have a pension and we've got a little Etsy business going on, and we want to make sure we're working today, but how long do we need to work? And, currently we're working with about $1 million between 403Bs and IRAs and Roth and brokerage. We've got all this different stuff. But look, it's $1 million couple. They want to retire early. I see it all the time. So if I talk to them and I did not educate them at all, I'm sure, I can just tell you this, they're going to go, Ari, I don't think I should retire. I go, why not? We had such a good talk and you seem so excited. And they're like, yeah, but I saw right here, it says I have a 76% probability of success. So I don't think I should retire. I go, let me be clear. This does not mean that there's a 24% chance that plane will not land. That is not what that's saying. And they're like, really? Kind of seems like that's exactly what it's saying. I go, no. What this is doing is the software is saying there's a 76% chance if you are not willing to implement any tax strategy, shift your spending, change your investments, and really do nothing from this point until you're 95. If you refuse to do anything different, there's a 76% chance that you will pass away with $800,000. And they're like, oh, like I thought that meant I would have $0. I go, no. What this is saying is there is a 24% chance that we should be tweaking things along the way if you do not want to pass away with $800,000. And sometimes the answer is, I want this to be lower. Just like put on the LinkedIn post. They said, hey, they want to be in the 60 to 70% range. I don't have a perfect range, and the software is going to change this dramatically if you put your numbers in and you're 30 years old versus you're 70 years old. If you're 30 and you have $10 million, the software might say, yeah, you have a 20% chance. Why? Do you know how many things could occur from now until you're 90? There could be so many different things, and the software, it doesn't know if you're going to sell when markets go down. It doesn't know if you're going to have an epiphany and go want to spend more money. So the software is always just taking your current figures and going, what do these numbers allow for the future? In terms of Monte Carlo and running 10,000 simulations and stress testing, this number is not something I would ever want my client to retire early on, especially. So let's meet where they're at in terms of this graph. So they have $1 million. They want to retire early. Well, what happens at the beginning is because they're teachers, they don't have other income coming in. I mean, their pension has not begun yet. So everything's up to their portfolio for them to generate their lifestyle. So right off the bat, you can see the graph is going down. Why is it going down? Well, because they're spending money at a faster rate than their portfolio is growing. Now it's going up. Why? There's other income sources. Maybe they're spending less. Now they told me they wanted to spend $6,000 a month. That's $72,000 a year. And they wanted to retire at 58 and 56. So that's early. Early to me is any time before 65. There's a big vacation in there. Now, I wanted to go to them and go, hey guys, like you told me you're not in great health. Are you getting massages? Are you doing physical therapy? They're like, yeah, a little bit. I go, what if we add that in? $10,000 a year. What does that do to the plan? Well, you can see here. Oh, and the reason it just got inflated is I switched it. So they work until 63, which they don't want to do. But what if I just said, hey guys, spend $10,000 a year more on health and massages and physical therapy, and look at what it does to the plan. I mean, that is significant. That's $1 million fewer dollars. Now they're still okay at the end, but let's go to their probability here. Well, now it says 51%. So that starts freaking people out. So the point here is this graph, I don't let someone retire on. This graph, this number, I wouldn't let someone retire on. I want to first ask the couple, what is your goal? Is it to leave $2 million to an heir? Is it to leave $5 million? Is it to die with zero? What is your goal? Now, this couple's like, look, we want to help out our kid, but they're going to get the home. So I'm good with that. And they're probably going to get a little bit more left over. I go, okay. So right now, how does it sound to pass away with $660,000? One of them said, I'm cool with it. The other spouse, and they're watching this, I bet, so they know. They're like, look, and I know who's watching. That's why I'm laughing. They're like, look, I know I should be cool with this, but like, I don't know. I have no logic behind it, but $660,000 just seems like not enough. Like, what if long-term care stuff happens and the other spouse is like, we have a pension, we're going to be okay, honey. But I can already hear the other spouse going like, no, I don't know why, but that doesn't seem good. I go, okay, like you don't have to do that. What if you guys spend $4,500 not $45,000 a month? That's crazy. That's like some of my character clients. Okay. That's me being nice. You characters know who you are. Okay. So $4,000 a month. Guys, what if they spend $4,000 a month instead of $6,000? Well, one, I'd argue they probably aren't able to do everything they want to do. But look, now they've got $3 million. And I'll tell the other spouse, how's that sound? And they're like, look, I know I told you 600,000 made me uncomfortable, but 3 million just seems excessive at this point. I'm like, why not, guys? Look at this. 100% probability. They're like, I don't know if I want that. So I show that to explain that the probability of success, that's not what you should be retiring on. The reason a retirement that's early is successful is because of what you're going to see on the screen right now. Now, what is this? This is not a pretty graph. This is just a real graph. This is what tells me as a retirement planner, is someone on track or are they not on track? And what you're looking at is the graph that tells them how much money needs to come from their portfolio. So right off the bat, if they stop working and they don't have any Social Security and their pension hasn't begun yet, which for most teachers, the pension is going to begin when you retire. So just Don't look into the semantics too much. But the point here, I'm just giving you an example. Here's a couple. When they retire, they're going to need 7.5% from their portfolio so they can live and do what they want to do. They might need 8% the next year, and then 9% and 10%. Is that sustainable? Heck no. No. If that, guys, they'd run out of money real quick. But here's a couple that wants to retire early. They want to enjoy the time that they have their health and their energy. And then what's going to happen is their withdrawal rate's going to be super low. And people are like, that's good. That means they won't run out of money. I'd say that's not good. That's them having to spend. Honestly, they're going to struggle to spend money, and they're going to have $5 million and they're going to be mad at me when they're 80 going, why didn't you tell me I should have retired earlier? I was in a fine spot. So I generally don't like this number. This is too high. 7, 8, 9, 10%. Now, if it was like 1 year, like we're going to do one home remodel, we're going to travel, look, 1 year at 7.5%, don't love it, but it's not going to make me tell someone they can't retire early. 73% of their income is covered from some side business income, Social Security, pension, and for many of you guys, you want to make sure you're thinking through this properly. So could they spend $50,000 a year on a big vacation for a few years? They could. What if they just did one big vacation? Like they could do lots of different things, but I want to make sure this couple is thinking through this intentionally, going, hey, are we on track? If we're going to retire early, like this is a big call, and we want to make sure we do it right the first time. So I'll say the first thing is make sure you understand what investment model you're in. Are you in preservation mode? Are you in growth mode? Are you on aggressive mode? I have different videos for that. For this couple here, if they said we want to spend $50,000 a year on big vacations and some health stuff and monthly spending, and they still have a mortgage, I go, guys, to be honest, I don't love this. I just don't love 8, 9, 10%. Markets are down and you want to take vacations, 11%, that's a big hit to the rest of your portfolio. Could you do it? You could do it and you could be okay, but I don't love it. So what I'd rather have you do is I want you to spend $5,000 a month because I think that's what you'd really love to spend. I want to keep on the health and the massages and the PT, but I'm going to ask you to work 2 more years. And they might go, Ari, we don't want to work 2 more years. Like, guys, I have people tell me that. I'm like, oh, I get it. But now your retirement looks a lot smoother, where there might be a year or 2 years where you're going to want to travel, and that's before the pension comes on at 63. And now it's sustainable, I'd argue more than sustainable, for the rest of their life. Now they're in a great spot. Their withdrawal rate's really low, and then it jumps up. Anyone know why it's jumping up? Well, they need to essentially take out more money than they'll probably ever need. They've got distributions. They've got all this other fancy stuff. So this is a couple that I'd say, hey, guys, if you want like my green light to retire, you could retire today, technically at 58, but I would be cautious about spending in the withdrawal rates for 4 or 5 years north of 6, 7, 8%. Like that's just not sustainable. So here's the couple now, and this is me tentatively saying, hey, maybe this could happen. Well, 98% versus what I'm recommending, 76%. You can see here, guys, I want to make sure this couple lives a retirement that they enjoy, but I want to make sure that we're being intentional with this. And too many people go, look at this graph. I'm on track for $3.5 million. I'm like, look, I get that. And $3.5 million sounds good. But if you were to work 1 year less and you retire 59, hypothetically, look at what the change that will have on your plan. Well, all I said is work 1 year less. 1 year less of work is a $700,000 difference. So 1 more year, the withdrawal rates, look at this, 9%, 10%, 11%. If this is my couple, and they say, Ari, I am miserable working right now. You don't understand miserable. I'd say, should we look at part-time income? Maybe. I'd say, could we take a job that you enjoy? It pays way less. Could we consider during these years still taking vacations, but maybe we don't do the big $50,000 vacation until your pension is turned on, because then there's way more income coming in. I'm going to feel better. There's health care. So it's not like, here's a couple I'm saying maybe you could retire 94%, 76%. The percentage is helpful. It is helpful for the conversation, but it's not the reason to go retire. This should not be like, if it says 100% for you, you should think, hey, should I like retire tomorrow because maybe I have way too much money? Other times I'll see people with 100%. I'll go, you can't retire. And they're like, why? I go, well, I know the software says 100%, but the reality is, based on what you've told me already, that right now your plan looks good, but you told me that you're living on bare bones budgets and you're going to want to spend $10,000 a month. So go tell the software that you're going to want to spend way more. And there might be a 10-year period where you want to take amazing vacations. I'm like, great, I want you to. So let me be clear for all of you listening. I want you to live the best retirement humanly possible. I don't want you to retire too early, and I don't want you to retire based on probability of success. I don't want you to retire because it says you have $2 million. I want you to consider retiring with a deep conversation about withdrawal rates. Am I on track? I want this to be a figure that you consider. In the same way, I want this to be a figure that you consider. I want you to go, okay, what's the level of confidence? Because look, let's assume investments do really well. They could have an unbelievable amount of money, 7, 5, 6 million bucks. What if investments don't do well? Retirement is about confidence. And the way you gain confidence is first seeing what you're on track for and going, oh my gosh, yeah, my plan looks awesome. Going to the cash flows and going, oh, I'm going to read in my own retirement and understand income's coming in and then Social Security and then there's expenses and then there's taxes and there's goals. And if you're like, look, I love doing this, why do you think I offer this software? This is for you guys. You want to go play around, be my guest. If others of you are like, look, this is cool, but like, I don't want to worry about doing this wrong or I don't want to do this. Look, that's why my team exists. This is, for most of you, going to be a good starting spot, but you'll probably want to work with an advisor if you determine you need guidance, but you don't all need it. And so I want you all to just hopefully recognize that probability of success, Monte Carlo, it's another figure, but it's not the reason to retire early. That's it for this video. If this was helpful, please do like it, share it with others that you want to gain value from, you want them to gain value from it. I'm already thinking about your guys' early retirement. You guys traveling and going to Aruba, and I don't even know if people go to Aruba anymore, but I feel like I used to hear about that. So maybe it's Cancun. Maybe that's the new hot spot. What is the new hot spot? If you want to tell me in the comments. That's it for this episode, guys. See you next time.